everyone. I hope you guys are doing okay. If you or your child are having any difficulties at all, though, give us a call or email us. We're here to help. This week, we are going to take a look at lessons 33 through 36. So let's get started. This week, you're going to need your lessons manual, the student worksheets book, the math card games manual, and the cards to play the games. You will need the AL abacus. You're also going to need the centimeter cubes, and that's these blue cubes. You are also going to need your appendix pages. Now, if you bought the book bundle from us this past year, it came with a packet of appendix pages, and inside that packet, you will see the appendix page 1, and that's what this is referring to. If you did not get the separate, if you did not purchase the appendix pages separately, then you can go to the Math Card Games Manual and flip towards the back and you will see the appendix pages, and that's what you're going to need. This week, we will continue working on multiplication. We will also introduce division and even work on some pre-algebra concepts. So go ahead and turn to lesson 33. In lesson 33, your child is going to continue working with the short multiplication table. The warm-up section will have you review with your child some terms like sum, difference, and product. If your child does not remember what those terms are, have them look it up in their math dictionary. The last part of the warm-up section will have your child work through the top section of worksheet 19. Once your child finishes the top portion of that worksheet, you will use the remainder of the worksheet throughout the lesson. The first thing your child will do is finish the rest of that short multiplication table. Then they are to find 2 multiplication math facts that seem to be hard for them to remember. Then have your child think of a way to help them remember that math fact a little bit better. A couple examples are shared with you in the lesson. One of the examples that I used with my kids was the 8 times 7. They always struggled with the 8 times 7. And if you look at the bottom of the first page under the explanations, it says, although it's not mathematical, there is another way to remember 8 times 7. It's 56 equals 7 times 8. So 5, 6, 7, 8. And my kids actually latched onto that one and it really worked with them. On the top of the second page of the lesson, your child is going to play the game Ring Around the Factors. Now this game is played just like Ring Around the Products, but it has a different way to score the game. We do have a blog for Ring Around the Products, and it is called 2020 Summer Game Number 14, Ring Around the Products. And this blog has a video attached to it, so you can actually see the game in action. When playing this version of the game, though, you are going to use the short multiplication table on the worksheet and use the centimeter cubes, that's these things, to mark the multiplication problems that have been solved. The winner of the game is the player with the most completed rows or columns on their short multiplication table. That means before you play the game, you want to make sure that each player has their own short multiplication table. So you can copy that portion of the worksheet for each player that you have. Go ahead and turn to lesson 34. In this lesson, or in the warm-up of this lesson, you are going to review the terms sum, difference, products, and factors. Any term that your child is struggling with, have them look it up in their dictionary, and you may even want to have them write down the definition if they're really consistently struggling with it. After the warm-up has been completed, give your child worksheet 20, and here your child is going to use the short multiplication chart to find the factors. Notice in this lesson, you will use letters to show the unknown number, and this is a pre-algebra concept. Once you work through the examples through the first page of the lesson, you will give your child the worksheet 20 to have them complete on their own if they can. If they struggle with it, you can sit next to them and encourage them and give them helpful hints along the way. They can also use the short multiplication table as they need it. The final problems on the worksheet show one product that is used for more than one multiplication math fact. For example, 40 is the product of 10 times 4, 4 times 10, 8 times 5, and 5 times 8. your child can go ahead and use the short multiplication table to find those problems. The game for lesson 35 is Find the Two Factors game, and we do have a blog for that game. It's called 2017 Summer Game Number 20, Find the Two Factors. Let's go ahead and turn to lesson 35. Congratulations! After you complete lesson 35, you will have completed 25% of level D. For this lesson, you will need appendix page 1. If you purchase the book bundle with the appendix pages separate, you will find the short multiplication table in the appendix pages like this. If, however, you've purchased the book used, or you did not get the separate appendix pages, then you'll want to go to the very back of the lesson manual, and you will find the appendix pages back there, and you can copy the appendix pages. So that way, if you have other children coming into the program later, you haven't lost that appendix page. For this lesson, you're going to go ahead and give them that short multiplication table to use throughout the lesson. Make sure that they give it back to you at the end of the lesson so you have it for future lessons. The warm-up will be the top portion of worksheet 21. The next section of the worksheet you will actually use during this lesson. Problem 1 on the worksheet is a word problem that will use division to solve. So let me show you how it works on the abacus. For lesson 35, we are going to work through problem 1 together. The problem 1 says this: oranges are packed with 6 in a bag. How many bags are needed for 48 oranges? So the first step is to put the 48 oranges on the abacus. So there's 48. Now we know that each bag has 6 oranges in it. So we are going to group our oranges into bags of 6. So now we need to fit these oranges, if you will, into bags. And we know that we can do that in groupings of 6. So we're going to do some trading. These 6 beads for these 6, these 6 beads for these 6, and these 6 beads for these 6. So we know we have 8 bags of 6 oranges. Once you and your child have worked through problem 1 using the abacus, they will need to write the equation for it. Make sure you continue to use the letters to represent the unknown. For example, in the lesson manual, it uses B for the letter bag, or for bags. On the top of the second page, you will see the multiplication version of the equation. 6 times B equals 48, so B will equal 8. You will also use the same information to write the division equation. 48 divided by 6 equals B for bags, and B again equals 8. You will notice there is a new term under the section called division terms, and it is called quotient. Have your child look that term up in the dictionary, and just so you know, the term quotient simply means the solution to a division problem. Continue working through the next 2 word problems. You and your child will write 2 equations for each one, the multiplication form of the equation and then the division form of the equation. Both of those are shown in the lesson manual. After you finish working through those problems, you will have your child complete the worksheet on their own if they're able to. They can use the abacus and or their short multiplication table as needed. If this lesson was not overwhelming to your child, go ahead and play the math card games Ring Around the Factors, which you played in lesson 33. All right, well, let's turn to lesson 36. The warm-up section will start your child completing the top portion of worksheet 22. You will again ask them to explain the terms sum, difference, product, and quotient. You may even want to throw in factors in there. The word problems on worksheet 22 will be completed during the lesson time again. I actually love having the word problems solved together in class. It helps my kids learn to think through word problems and how to solve them. Notice under the section titled Problem 1, it says, Tell your child to read the story twice. A lot of times kids will hurry up, read through that story, the word problem real quick, and then they miss some portions. So by reading the problem twice, it will help your child understand the problem better and reduce the chance that they've missed something. And it's a really good habit to get into early on. After your child has read through the problem 2 times, have them solve it. You are actually going to have them talk through the problem out loud to you, and this will help you see how their mind is working and where their logic might be faltering. And then you can guide them to a better way of solving the problem later because you've heard how they're thinking and where they're going. So you're kind of catching it early on. In the middle of the first page of the lesson, you are going to introduce parentheses in equations. And you may even want to have your child look up the term parentheses in their math dictionary to help them explore this concept. In this section, your child will consider how the order of solving sections of an equation is affected when you add the parentheses. So let me walk you through one of the activities at the bottom of the first page using the abacus. So for lesson 36, using parentheses on the abacus feels a little different. So let's walk through the problem. 4 plus 3 in parentheses times 2. Now remember, we have to do what's in the parentheses first. So we actually have 4 plus 3 in parentheses. Now, that's how we're going to show on the abacus. Now we have to multiply that by 2. So we need 2 sets of these. So we're going to do another 4 and 3. And then of course, if you squish this together, you can find the answer is 14. Once your child has worked through problem 1, go ahead and work together through problem 2. Let your child attempt this problem on their own. Then have them explain to you how they got the answer. If they got the answer wrong, still have them explain it to you because sometimes the child catches their own error when they're explaining to you the process. In this section, your child will also write 2 different ways to write the equation. But because parentheses are still new, your child may need a little help to remember how to use them. In the 4th paragraph on the 2nd page of the lesson, you will explain a little bit about how the order of operations works. It says, when an equation has more than one operation, multiplication and division must be done first before addition and subtraction. That actually is order of operations. A little further down, you will see the comment, ask, is it correct to write the first equation as 44 plus 38 times 2 equals m? So here you are actually suggesting a wrong solution. Your child should disagree with your suggestion. And I love it when Right Start Math uses lessons like this and suggestions like this. You're going to want your child to evaluate and think through what you're saying, not just randomly accept what you're saying is accurate. So this activity is developing critical thinking and really vital to their learning. So if you find that your child is just nodding and agreeing to everything you say, you might want to add more wrong suggestions to your lessons as you go on. After you finish problem 2, have your child read and solve problem 3. Under the practice section, you are actually having your child practice the order of operations. And if it's been a while since you've done order of operations, here is a quick refresher course. In the order of operations, you need to first solve anything in the parentheses, and then you need to solve any of the multiplication and division operations, and then solve the addition and subtraction operations. This lesson does not include exponents, so that part of the order of operations is not included in this lesson. If it were, and if you are curious, the first thing that you do are the parentheses, the second thing that you do are the exponents, then you do multiplication and division, and then you do subtraction or addition and subtraction. If this lesson was not too taxing on your child, then go ahead and play the math card game Corners, which you have played previously. Well, that's it for the week. As always, if you have any questions or concerns about a lesson, or if your child is struggling with something, give us a call or email us. We are here to help. Have a fabulous week, everybody. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week when we go over lessons 37 through 40. Have a great day, everybody.